Welcome everybody to Mortgage Mondays. We've got some myth-busting action going on. We bust myths of what happens in the mortgage industry so that you can save money. Today's show is spectacular. You're going to want to catch all of the myths that we're busting, but in particular, you're going to love the fact that many times you're walking into a Toyota dealership being told about Toyotas, not realizing there's a huge sale going on with Accords that your competition knows about and you don't. Make sure you listen all the way to today's episode because Christian and I are going to explain who you can find and how you should talk to them to find out where the sales are, where the best rates are, and how you can capitalize on those deals that you didn't even know existed. If you love today's show, make sure you leave me something in the comments and let me know what you thought about this fact and what type of information you'd like to hear more of in the future. Welcome back to the final edition of the Mortgage Myths Trilogy. This is David Greene, your host of the BiggerPockets Real Estate Podcast, here today with my partner and broker in the one brokerage, Christian Bachelder, also known as Big Brain. Not Big Bird, but Big Brain. Guy's super smart, knows a lot about mortgages and insurance and a lot of other things. And he is here to help me to dispel some myths and teach you guys the truth about what's really going on in the mortgage industry and how you can use that information to make money. Christian, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. That's right. More mortgage myths on a Monday.
Nice alliteration there. Very well done. He's slowly also becoming a marketer. Another M. All right. First myth. Should I wait to improve my credit score and save more money before buying real estate?
People are very, very concerned about their credit and understandably so. But we've explained this in a couple other videos, but this is going to go a little more in depth. Credit, once again, is based in brackets, right? Usually brackets of 20 points. 700 to 720 gets the same rate. 720 to 740 gets the same rate. So the only time where it's really advisable to improve your credit is if you have small differences that can maybe bump you from 718 to 721, right? Because that'll bump you into the next credit bracket. And if you're working with us, if you're working with a good lender, they should have these things naturally built into their systems, which we do. We do fine-tuning credit score adjustments, sometimes without you guys even knowing. And you guys being our clients. You know, sometimes we'll just rescore your credit, get it up to the next bracket, save you $2 or $3 grand on closing costs. You don't even know what happened. The other solution is if you're significantly credit impacted, maybe a late payment, maybe a derogatory mark, some sort of, just late payment, right? You can go to a credit repair specialist. We've partnered with one that helps you get, from like maybe those low to mid 600s up closer to 700, and that would save you a lot. But I mean, if you're at a 790 and you just want really to get to that 800 to just get the bragging rights, you're not actually going to receive any benefit on your mortgage, right? So for those people 760 and up, no, don't wait to increase your credit to go buy a house. Like you already qualify for the best mortgage that the industry provides.
Yeah, credit scores often become, like a bragging rights thing, like a bunch of guys trying to talk about who caught the biggest fish, where it really doesn't have a whole lot of impact on how the fish tasted. I don't know if that's the best analogy, but I'll literally hear people say, oh, I have a credit of 780. I have it of 820. I have it of 940. And you're like, okay, first off, you don't, because credit scores don't go that high. Second off, it doesn't matter. You're not a better human being because your score is better. It's a tiered system. The other part of this question that's worth mentioning is people that try to save their way into a larger down payment. In fact, why don't we just go into that? That's a completely separate myth on its own. Putting down as much money as possible is the smartest way to buy real estate. Dave Ramsey said so, and he said, if you get a loan to buy real estate, you're stupid. Christian, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, in the case you don't qualify, like for conventional loans, there's a debt to income ratio, right? I mean, if you need to put down a bigger down payment to get your monthly payment low enough to qualify for that loan, then obviously you don't have another option. But if you're looking to scale a real estate portfolio, you should be accessing the best loan product, which is typically lower interest rates, which is typically, lower down payment requirements, whatever the target issue you're, targeting is. There's going to be a capital, opportunity cost of that money, right? And if you're just putting the Dave Ramsey method, you don't buy a house till you buy it in cash. Well, America has built like an amazing financing industry to help people get into houses so that they don't have to go save $1 million to buy a house, right? But if you have to save, you're talking 10, 12, 15 years of your income to buy a house, the appreciation and tax benefits and everything that you're going to gain in the meantime, just using some leverage is way better, right? So absolutely not. Don't just save for the absolute largest down payment you can. Target what the product allows, target with your loan officer what you'll qualify for, and utilize the loan product the way it's meant to be used.
Yeah, and to bring some context to this point here, if someone was able to save another $40,000 put down on their house, which for most people would probably take a year or longer to be able to do, it would improve their principal and interest payment by $253 a month month at a 6.5% interest rate. Okay. Now this was even more impactful when rates were lower. So when we had rates at like 3.75, it only drops your payment by $185 a month to save money for a year. Well, what happened to the price of homes while you tried to save that extra money? Over the course of a year, they were rising. You could not outsave real estate when the government is printing money and creating inflation. So it's just something to think about. No one likes the price of homes being expensive, but the days of being able to save enough money to get your payment down, especially when rates are low, they're all but gone in most cases. Unless you're able to save 300, 400 grand a year and you want to go put that money down on a house, sure, that could have some kind of an impact. But it's usually not something that is in people's best interest to try to get their rate at its highest possible to save 1/8%. In fact, let's do a little bit of math on that, right? That same $40,000 at 6.5 is $253. So now on a house with a $400,000 loan balance, if you're able to get your credit score to lower your interest rate from 6.5 to 6.375, 1/8 of a point drop, your monthly payment is only going to drop by $33 a month. So again, we're not saying that interest rates don't matter, but they usually don't matter as much as people think about. And if you're waiting to buy real estate to try to build your credit score up higher, you probably are ending up losing money over the long term because the price of the asset is continuing to increase while you're trying to save. All right, next myth. I don't want to get pre-approved. I'm going to go look at homes and I'll get pre-approved when I find a house that I like. What do you have to say about that?
For your lender, that's like nails on a chalkboard. For your realtor, that's like nails on the chalkboard. For the title rep that's going to be repping the deal, that's like nails. For the seller, that's like nails on the chalkboard, right? That's not how this works. That's like saying you go to a used car dealership and you walk in and you say, oh, I don't have any money yet. And I haven't talked to anybody to facilitate the purchase of this car, but I'd like to go test drive. And you go grab the salesman who could be talking to people who are going to close on a car. And he goes and takes you for a test drive just for you to walk out of the dealership the moment you get back, right? For everybody involved in the transaction, the realtor, the lender, the seller, the title rep, the appraiser, the inspector, everybody involved who is you're potentially talking to, you're scheduling appointments with, you're doing consults with, follow their advice. And there's not a single one of those people who would say, don't get pre-approved first. Regardless of like, oh, what if it dings my credit score? Or I have to submit all these documents to a lender. If you're serious about buying a house, be serious. Don't lollygag through buying a house. Like, do it the right way, right? And the right way is getting pre-approved so that you can go make confident offers knowing that you can qualify for the loan that you're offering.
Great point. Couple other reasons why you want to get pre-approved first. In a housing market where no one's looking at homes, you can probably get away with skipping your pre-approval to a degree. When like 2010, houses are sitting on the market for 300 days, 250 days. If you find a house that you like at a price that you think could work, you have plenty of time to get pre-approved and make an offer, especially when there's just tons of inventory out there. That has not been the case for a long time. You're going to fall in love with the house. You're going to realize it's a great deal. You like the price. It's perfect for you. And before you can get pre-approved, somebody's already come in to buy it. In fact, several people have come in to buy it and driven the price up much higher than you thought you could get it for. Don't set yourself up for heartache by waiting to get pre-approved. Another thing is when you're pre-approved, it's much like getting blood work from the doctor. Christian and his staff of wizards that are working in the lab can look at it and say, ooh, we could do a rapid rescore with your credit here to get you into a better rate. We could pay down this debt over here to improve the debt to income ratio. We could get you into this loan product, which is better for this purpose. And then we can look for ways that actually improve what you're going to end up paying on the loan, both by the rate, by the closing costs, and different loan products that you may not have known were there. It doesn't hurt to go to the doctor and say, what's my blood work look like and how can I improve it? So it's a bit of a financial checkup in addition to just the practical purpose of going to get the house. So it doesn't make sense to wait to do that. Although nobody likes getting pre-approved, it usually makes more financial sense to do it so. So get over your discomfort and make the decision that's going to make you more money. All right, next myth. I've heard about DSCR loans. They are all the rage, and I like to be popular. I watch TMZ, I attend Met galas, and I know all the new TikTok dances. I even started playing Fortnite so young people would think I was cool.
Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home. Long dirt road.
Should I get a DSCR loan just because everyone else is doing it and skip conventional options?
Man, with all that, I want to say yes, but no is the answer. To explain this, guys, he's absolutely right here, is that there are kind of like the hot commodity loan products. They come and go, a while ago it was ARMs and then interest only to keep your payment low. And then the 40-year mortgage had its heyday. And lately it's been DSCRs because as rates go higher, it gets harder to qualify. You have to go to a more competitive and more creative loan product. Okay. However, The basics are always going to be true that if you qualify for a good loan being a 30-year conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA loan, it's always going to be a more competitive rate. So a lot of people reach out to us saying, hey, I heard about a DSCR loan, but I want to put 3.5% down and get a 5.5% interest rate. Well, that loan exists. It's called an FHA loan. That's not a DSCR loan. Oh, but David and Christian were talking about DSCR. Correct. It's not for you, right? So I say this because when you come to us, don't come to us with like, this is the one loan product for me, right? Because in a lot of times that's not. Instead, let us build a roadmap for you, right? Let us be your personal financial consultants, right? Let us walk you through what your current portfolio looks like, what your assets look like, what your buying power looks like. And then let us do the hard part of picking the right lender and picking the right program. That's our job. That's why we do this, right? If you put yourself into a box and you only reach out to DSCR lenders, this is another kind of myth in the industry, is that every lender offers all the same products. If you go talk to a hard money loan or a DSCR lender, they're not going to tell you qualify conventionally because they don't offer that product. Right?
Or that conventional loans might make more sense for you.
Correct. Yeah, they don't do those.
You go to a Toyota dealership, they only sell Toyotas. They're not going to tell you about the fact that Accords might be better, or that Accords are running cheaper right now, or there's actually a sale on Accords that you didn't know about. They're going to keep your attention completely focused about Toyota. Sorry to cut you off here, but I know in the loan industry, this is going to be weird, but just hear me out, everyone. There are specials that lenders will run on either loan products or even specific interest rates, right? This is one of the things that Christian showed me when I first met him, that you'll get a rate sheet with a par rate and then different prices of loans from there. And as you can get a cheaper rate to pay a little bit more money, or a more expensive rate to get a credit back, there are certain points on that rate sheet where the lenders want to sell more loans at that interest rate. I don't completely understand why, but it does happen. So when you have a mortgage broker that looks at the whole thing that says, yeah, your par rate 6.5, but right now 6.25 is trading ridiculously low. You can get into it for only $400 more. It's usually $2,800 more to do it. You see options you wouldn't normally have, just like going to a place that sells a lot of different cars where maybe they need to offload this product, or everybody's buying them, or maybe no one's buying them, so they bought too much, so they have more to sell. Loans work the same way. And just like you said, when you go to a lender that only does one loan, all they tell you about is that loan, only their product. And of course that would make sense. You can't walk into a Nike store and expect them to tell you about Adidas. But if you walk into a store that sells all of them, they know the prices. Do you have any examples, Christian, since I cut you off there, that you can share of how you've seen this work out in practical terms?
Yeah, this is perfect. And I was just thinking about a client that we just closed. So we're right now, I mean, this is going to be gone by the time this airs, but there's a 0.75 point pricing special going on right now. That's 75% of 1 point. If that's $1 million loan, that's $7,500 is the potential savings there. Right? We had a borrower who closed one loan with us with a different lender. He came back to us to buy a second house, and we have him placed with a different lender than his first lender. And he asked, like, it wasn't Chase, but why don't I get Chase? Why are you putting me with Wells Fargo now? I got Chase on the last one. And we shared him the differences. We showed him the Wells Fargo quote when we got him his Chase loan, and his Chase quote when he got the Wells Fargo loan. And they were different. I mean, I'm talking, this guy saves probably $13,000 over the course of those two loans by us being able to pivot back and forth and offer different products and offer different rates and have different specials, right? Like I shared right now, we have one of our lenders offering a 75 bips special right now. So somebody that we may have put over with Chase is now going to go to that guy, right? And now we're going to get saved, that's $1 million loan. Like I said, $7,500. That's a massive amount of savings on a purchase, right? That may be 2, 3, 4% of your down payment for all I know, right? All of it goes to say, when there's a lender that is only capable of talking about one loan, and this even goes to Chase, right? This goes to the big banks, right? They do conventional loans, and sometimes they do jumbo. Like, that's it. They don't do DSCR. They don't do hard money. They don't do bridge money. They don't do renovation loans. Talk to a lender that if you're planning on scaling a portfolio where you're going to need access to different products, work with a lender that can grow with you, not one that will handicap you.
Yeah, and this is a principle that I really believe in more than just through loans. So we sort of took the route with the one brokerage of taking much longer to get started. It wasn't like a skyscraper that we could just immediately build up really quick. We went wide and built relationships with lots of lenders, lots of options. We didn't just come out here marketing ourselves saying, hey, come to us, we do this. We took up years of time to build an incredibly strong foundation. So when someone does come to us and they say, hey, I want a DSCR loan, we'll say, great, why? I don't know, I was told I was supposed to do it. Well, let's get you pre-approved. Let's put you through the process, and then let's see if that makes sense, because maybe you don't need a DSCR loan. Maybe you can qualify getting it as a second home, put 10% down instead of 25, get a better rate than you would have got, and get a DSCR loan for the next one when the house isn't close to you. That we can't expect the borrower to think on their own of these options. They don't know how this world works.
I'm literally thinking as you talk, we did this for you. You remember that when we were in contract for one of your loans and I was like, hey, there's this new product that matches, it was for your house up in Northern California. Completely pivoted the opportunity that you had on that property, right? You put much less down, you got a better rate, better terms. And that was just because, I happen to be on this email thread with this lender that just created this new loan product that perfectly fits the situation David's in right now.
Yep. So with that property, we ended up borrowing more money for the rehab. So I had more money to put into it than I had budgeted. I used that money to actually build out the entire basement. I added about 1,400 of square feet to a property in an A-plus neighborhood that also increased the value of the property, right? So I borrowed the money that I used to now add equity to the property, and it added more cash flow because there's a whole nother thing to rent out that wasn't initially part of the plan because I didn't have that much money budgeted for that one project. This is how your loan officer is supposed to work. They're supposed to have the ideas that you didn't have. Another principle that I just want everybody to keep in mind is the type of question you ask makes a big difference. Don't show up to your lender and say, this is what I want to do. Show up and say, what options do I have? I use this often in my own investing. It drives me nuts when people say, okay, David, you want to improve a property. What's my budget? What that means is how much of your money am I allowed to spend? And they're asking the wrong question because what I want them asking is, what is the most efficient way to add value to a property? So I just had a talk with Rob, and Rob is coming along really well. Initially, he said, David, how much money can we put towards the Scottsdale property? And I came back to him and said, why don't you get me some options of what can be done, and we will find which of them are the most cost-efficient ways to add value. Well, guess what? He just came back to me and said, we can build a 9-hole mini golf course for around $20,000 to $25,000. That's a no-brainer, right? That's much better than me saying, okay, you have $150,000 to spend, go figure out ways to spend it. Now, once I realized we have this golf hole opportunity, I'm like, well, where else can I put that on other properties? It's a much better way to look at investing is you look for the value and then you cater your strategy around what you have working in your benefit rather than just saying, well, I heard somebody else did this. I want to do the same thing and hoping it works out. So you got a little bit more than just mortgage myths busted there. You actually got some principles that should help you with scaling your portfolio. Christian, I know that you're doing some consulting now. I'm doing consulting as well. People didn't realize that. You could actually book times to talk with both of us. If people want to figure out how they can get to know more about you, how they can learn more about the One Brokerage, or how they can book a consulting call with you, where can they go?
Absolutely. Everything is on my Linktree and Instagram, the One Broker, underscores in between, the One Broker. Everything's in the link at the top of my profile that you can find me at.
There you go. You can follow me at David Greene 24 on all social media. DM me if you'd like to book me for a consultation, or just let me know what challenges you're having and I'll see what I can do to help you out. Also, Christian, we run a Discord channel where people can get free advice if they're a client of the One Brokerage or the David Greene team. So if people want to know more about that, just send Christian an email or a DM or me and we will get you connected with it. Lots of our other clients are in there talking about where they bought, how they bought, why they bought, what worked, what didn't work, and what they did. And knowledge can be power. So thank you very much for joining us on today's Mortgage Monday. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you are notified when more BiggerPockets content comes out. Remember, we're more than just a podcast. There are several podcasts as well as one of the best YouTube channels in the entire ecosystem. Usually you have to pay for information like this, but we make sure you get it free. Christian, thanks for joining me. I will see you on the next edition of Mortgage Monday. And everyone out there, we love you.